Good evening and welcome to Christmas in July at Agnus Dei Lutheran Church. My name is Randy Spitzer and my co-host here, of course you know, he's visiting from the North Pole. Hello Santa, how are you? He's being quiet this evening. Let's begin as we always begin, our worship services. The Lord be with you and also with you. Let's pray. Lord, we gather this evening virtually to celebrate the many blessings we share with one another in this congregation on this Christmas in July. During this live stream tonight, you'll be hearing from members of our congregation who represent each of the ministries of this congregation. They'll tell you what they do and why they do it. But first, let's hear from our council president, Beverly Buster.
Hello, my name is Beverly Buster, and I serve as president of the Church Council, along with Denny Sapp, Julia Bell, Charlene Franz, Deb Bruckner, Jean Koost, Sherry Stava, Richard Ohm, Susan Whitney, Robert Nussbaum. We encourage you to contact any council members with any concerns. Briefly, the Church Council is dedicated to provide watchful care of the life and activities of the congregation. The council is responsible for financial and property matters of the congregation. More details can be found in Chapter 12 of the Constitution. We look forward to connecting with you more. We are excited to support the Stewardship Committee's Christmas in July, and we hope you are too. Thank you.
You may notice that I'm not wearing a mask and neither is Santa. It's okay, we're family, so we're part of our own bubble here. Don't worry about that. But I like what Beverly had to say about the mission of the council, which is, and I'm paraphrasing slightly here, providing watchful care of the life and activities of the congregation. Isn't that what we as a faith community are all about? Watching and caring for one another? You've often heard Seth on Sunday morning and numerous times since the COVID crisis began, our building is closed, but the church is still open. Well, tonight, on this Christmas in July celebration, we're going to take some time to hear about the many gifts that we share with one another and with the community. We'll do that by hearing from the spokesperson from each ministry, guild, group, committee, or ensemble who share their gifts in this congregation and with the community. This first group of videos you're about to see describe the gifts we offer in and around this church building.
I'm Don Crump. I'm one of the property team members. 8 or 10 of us here are dedicated to keeping our facilities and our gardens and yard up to speed. And it's my pleasure to give you a little idea of what we've been doing recently with the building closed, but we're obviously, the building's closed, but we are still maintaining it. Within the sanctuary, you'll see that we've installed the new camera that you saw the first time the Sunday of the 13th, and that worked well. As we go out the entrance, we'll notice that a number of people have been volunteering their time and getting away from the house and the spouse and helping us keep the yard beautiful. We put down a lot of bark that was donated by Paul Alverston. Over 25 cubic yards were put down throughout the flower beds, and all the grass was mowed. We've kept up the playground area for the kids, and it's all looking really nice. We'll take a little walk through the facility and give you an idea of what we've been doing in here. We've adjusted all the thermostats so that they're not trying to maintain a certain temperature in here, saving a little bit on our utility bills. We've also shut off the septic pumps. There's no sense having those run if the septic system's not working or needs to be worked. You noticed out of the front of the church, perhaps, that the cross was taken down. When we tried to take it down to repaint it, it self-destructed. So let me show you the piece of wood that we'll be using to remake that, a number of us. As you can see, we have the hall lights down and all the automatic lights on and off so that we can keep the utility bills to a minimum as well. As you can see, the pieces on the floor here will be the cross member, and this will be the bottom piece that's on the sawhorses, and that'll be going up. We're also considering taking down the barn. It requires some maintenance and upkeep that is not necessary now that the church van is gone. So we're considering that too, to have it removed. So your property team has been a busy bunch of guys. Even though the doors have been locked on the church, we've been keeping it as up and as well as we could. Thank you.
Hi, this is Marlene Bridgeforth, and I'm going to talk to you today about the Altar Guild. Being a member of the Altar Guild is another way that one can serve in the life of our congregation. Our primary role is to set the table by preparing the altar for communion. We provide the elements, the bread, the wine, and the juice, and we help with serving communion at the gluten-free station. We also help with preparations for baptismal services, Christmas Eve services, home communion kits, and at funerals. Several of our other tasks include coordination of flowers for Sunday services, laundering the vestments and the robes, keeping candle holders full of oil and the candle wicks trimmed, and cleaning the sanctuary. Our volunteers are much appreciated and faithful in their service. As you know, many hands make light work, and this certainly applies to our group. If you would like to join the Altar Guild here at Agnes Day, please let Sherry Shull or me know. I have found serving in this capacity to be a very meaningful experience, and you may too. Thank you.
Hello, Lynette Brenton for the Hospitality Committee, coming to you from the Parish Hall Kitchen, where after service on Sunday morning, normally we would meet together, participate in the adult forum, share a cup of coffee, and catch up. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that at this time. However, we can still connect with each other on Sunday mornings, 10:30, on a Zoom call, which happens directly after the live stream worship. Check your newsletter for more information. Until we meet again, Dick and I wish you well. We miss you all, and we hope to see you Sundays on the Zoom call.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Collier coming to you from Loon Lake, Washington, where we are vacationing in our lake house. I'm speaking on behalf of the Forum Committee for Agnes Day Lutheran Church. When I first became involved in the Forum Committee in 2005 or so, the U.S. was deeply involved in an unpopular Middle East war. I recall sitting around the table at Phyllis Brandt's home with Ed Knutson, the activist, preacher, philosopher, theologian, Brian Nas, Phyllis, and other members of the congregation, and planning how our minds and hearts could be challenged to address issues of peace and social justice in a Christian Lutheran context. What followed was a series of forum sessions featuring speakers from the Muslim community, PLU professors discussing the biblical injunctions against war, and discussions about how we should be involved. The intent in those days, and this remains an essential element of the forum experience, is to explore difficult problems from a Christian perspective, acknowledging each other's opinions with grace and civility. Through the years, Forum has featured speakers and teachers from universities. We've explored other faith traditions with expert leaders and clergy. We've studied historical theologians and engaged in a wide variety of biblical studies. We have not been afraid to tackle controversial subjects, studies leading to our being a reconciling in Christ congregation, the Lutheran social statements, the feminine face of God. We have also explored art, music, and poetry classroom is expressions of other ways that God speaks. Faith formation does not end with Sunday school or confirmation, but should continue throughout our lives, challenging our faith, moving us to thoughtful action in a world which needs committed, knowledgeable persons of faith. We are indebted to all of those who have given time and talent to Forum, especially Don Hines, who has been a sustaining presenter for us, sharing his faith and his knowledge with us. As we walk through this pandemic together into the fall, we'll figure out how to make Forum an integral part of Agnus Dei Lutheran Church life. Thank you.
The worship and liturgical arts committees work together with the pastor and our musicians to enhance our worship based on the liturgical year and seasons. Seasonal litanies, prayers, hymns, and artistic displays all find a place in our worship experience through these two committees. Special festival days throughout the liturgical year receive extra attention, and training for assisting ministers, lectors, ushers, and greeters are offered from time to time.
Hello, I'm Paula Davis, and I schedule the lectors for worship services at Agnus Dei. Lectors are the volunteers who read the scripture lessons for our church service. They are also the first people that are contacted to participate in chancel dramas for special services, such as Advent or Lent. Anyone can participate in this ministry, and there's no special training needed. If you can read clearly and with expression, then you'd be a great match. Lectors receive the lessons for the week via email several days before the service for which they will read, so there's plenty of time to check pronunciations and practice reading. COVID-19 has changed our procedures a bit. Before the virus, lectors would just read the lessons during the church service. Now, in our time of social distancing, lectors can either record the readings from their home and upload them to Dropbox, or they can come to the church building at 9:45 on Sunday morning and read the lessons live while the service is streaming. I hope you have enjoyed as much as I have seeing the various settings that lectors have used for their readings during our months of remote worship. If you're interested in becoming a lector, please send me an email at pickypaula@gmail.com or call me at 253-753-7956 and you can become part of this ministry of lector volunteers. I look forward to serving with you.
This piece is called Some Children See Him. It's by Willa Hudson and Alfred Burt.
I don't know about you, but I miss hearing Susan playing on live on Sunday mornings. What a gift of musicality and she brings to our worship. And the piece that she chose is one of the favorites that I love to sing. So now let's shift a little bit and hear about the gifts of study opportunities that we share with one another here at Agnus Dei Lutheran Church. These groups all continue despite the building being closed, so you can participate in them right now.
Well, we use Gather magazine for the women of ELCA, and this is our magazine for our beloved Bible study each month, and we simply call it Gather. It offers a mix of articles and stories of comfort, as well as monthly Bible study. These studies help our Gather group grow in faith by experiencing stories from the Bible to apply to our modern life. Each month, as we read a story from so long ago, we're asked to consider, what would you do? What do you think? What would you say about this? And how would you apply it to your life today, your modern life? And I think that's the key right there. And all of this brings us very close together. We've created Safe Harbor. We can all share our own personal stories. What's said in Gather stays in Gather. And so we always cherish this time together for that reason. The leadership is about a person volunteering each month, and the style of that leadership is purely up to the person who has said that they would come and be our leader. It doesn't matter. There's nothing rigid about it. We just want to have a good time, and we really rely on the magazine most of all for our input and then adding our own thoughts to that. So all I know is every time we leave fulfilled, sometimes crying, and it's a wonderful thing for all of us. We all look forward to it every month. Kimberly.
I love so many things about our Gather group. It is the fellowship, it's the support, it's the love, and it's also the laughter.
Yes.
Which is so very important. I find that I leave both enriched, my heart is full, and I feel lighter.
And since we've had to move to Zoom, we've had people from other parts of the country and other churches here join our group. So I hope anybody who's listening would love to join us. I do miss having the cookies, however.
Hi, I'm Lyle Miller, member of Agnus Dei Lutheran Church. I just want to share a word about an informal discussion group that meets regularly the third Thursday of every month at 5:30, usually till about 7 o'clock or a little before. We meet on the third Thursday, I say at 5:30 at the Marketplace Grill downtown Gig Harbor. We talk about contemporary topics that relate to faith and life and how it is we are to live as Christian people in today's world. During this time of pandemic, we are not able to meet at the Marketplace Grill. However, we are doing it on Zoom. So that's available to you by way of the Agnus Dei website. I hope you can join us, and we have a good time. Thank you. Bye. Hello, we're Lyle and
Sonia
Miller, and members of Agnus Dei Lutheran. We want to share with you an invitation to a first Saturday of the month Bible study breakfast at when the pandemic allows, but we meet at the Sunset Grill there in downtown Gig Harbor. And we generally will spend some time talking about the Bible text for the next day, the Sunday following.
and I was kind of jealous when Lyle would go off to breakfast and I would sit home and have my breakfast alone. So I talked to a couple women at church and asked if they would like to meet the men meet in the bar, and so we meet in the restaurant part, and we gather around a table and kind of do the same thing they do. We visit and catch up with each other, and then we also meet with or study the text. We have it printed out. Cindy does that for us, or you can do the things at home, prepare a little bit. But it's just a fun time to gather, and we even have one Presbyterian regular with us, so you and your friends are invited. We're about, anywhere from 6 to 8 to 12 that gather. So join us, please. Same time, 8:30 at Sunset Grill.
And though the men meet in the bar, we don't usually use the bar facilities, but we do have lots of good coffee. So that's the first Saturday of every month at the Sunset Grill in Gig Harbor. Thank you.
So one of the ways that our congregation helps nurture the faith of our members is with Wednesday morning Bible study. Each Wednesday at 10 a.m. we gather to read the Bible readings for the coming Sunday. Normally we meet in the couch room, but as with so many other Agnus Dei ministries right now, during the pandemic we've moved to doing this over Zoom. Bible study is a great time for us to dive deeply into the text to learn about the historical and literary context of the readings that we hear on Sunday mornings. Participants bring their curiosity and their questions. It's a great time for us to ask those nagging questions you might have about some of those familiar stories. We also get a chance to think creatively and critically about these stories and what they have to say to us in our context. One of the most important things about Bible study is that it gives us a chance to read the Bible as it was meant to be read, in community. The books and the letters in the Bible weren't written in a vacuum. They're not intended to be read that way. It's a communal document, and the community plays a vital role in helping us understand it. Even as a pastor, I often find new ways of understanding and listening to these stories from the insights and the experiences of the other people in the Bible study group. During the pandemic, we've also been taking some of this time to check in with one another, which is another important thing to be doing. It's hard for us to stay connected with our congregation during this time, and this text study is a great opportunity to share our joys and concerns with one another. While I'm on sabbatical this summer, Wednesday text study is continuing via Zoom. Pastor Chelsea Globe, who is our regular guest preacher and presider, will be leading the study until I return. The group varies in size from week to week. New faces kind of come and go, and there's always a warm welcome if you'd like to join them. If you haven't yet, I'd love to invite you to pop in sometime and see what you think. I'll bet you'll come away not only with a new understanding of some familiar Bible stories, but also with a new appreciation for the wisdom and the stories of the folks here at Agnus Dei. I hope you join us.
Wasn't that great to hear the handbell ensemble playing again? You know, it's interesting, handbells, we think of them as being around forever, but they actually didn't come to the United States until 1902. They'd been around for hundreds of years before that. And of course, since that time, there have been lots of innovations and lots of interesting things that have changed techniques, some of them that you heard in that last piece. So in a moment, you're going to hear about how you can be part of that handbell ensemble. And following that, there'll be a little bit about what's going on in our church during this time of COVID with the church choir.
And I'm Sharon. And we're participants in the Agnus Dei Handbell Choir. We'd like to play a very familiar Christmas tune for you. Something doesn't sound right.
Yeah, what's missing?
I know. We need more players to play the rest of the notes that are involved here. How would you like to be a part of that? Let me tell you a little bit about it. We play about 3 times per year for worship, and we have about 3 or 4 practices during the season that we're going to play. And we meet for an hour on Sundays after the second hour of worship.
And having some history of reading music is helpful, but as Sherry will tell you, it's really about counting. And a lot of times we mark our music by highlighting our particular assigned notes so that we know exactly when to ring.
We have 3 octaves of handbells, from the smallest to the largest. And sometimes we play chimes as well. So if this sounds like something you'd like to participate in, contact Sherry Scholl at the church. And with the more players that we have, she's able to be more creative in selecting music, and she is very creative.
So come ring with us.
Hi, I'm Diana Edelblut, and I'm a member of the choir at Agnus Dei. Before COVID, the choir would meet 2 times a week. We'd meet on Wednesdays to rehearse, and then we would meet again on Sundays to sing our psalm and our anthem and help to lead worship. We would sing for 3 Sundays a month and then have 1 Sunday off typically. Since COVID happened, we were still meeting on Wednesdays through May to have some Zoom fellowship time and check in with our friends from choir. We have stopped that for the summer, which is pretty typical for the choir. We have off during the summer months. But we are doing one really cool thing here in the next couple of months. We are collaborating with the choir from St. John's Episcopal, and they are helping us to put together a virtual choir anthem. So stay tuned for that. After COVID resolves, we would love to see you back at church on Wednesdays and Sundays to help make a joyful noise to the Lord as we help to lead worship.
I'll be playing O Tannenbaum, O Christmas Tree. It's a traditional German carol.
You might be wondering how
Oh, the joys of live streaming. You don't always get it exactly right, but we're doing great. Well, I was just going to say what a lovely old German carol that is. It's so wonderful to hear. And if you know me, you know I'm a musician, so music is particularly dear to my heart. Handbells, choir, piano, organ, all of it's just fantastic. I loved what Diana said about the choir making a joyful noise to the Lord. Of course, in this time of COVID, choirs everywhere have been silenced until it's safe to sing together again. But a joyful noise goes on in so many other ways, much of it these days on platforms like this, YouTube and Facebook and Zoom. So far this evening, during this celebration, we've been talking about gifts that are, for the most part, inside our congregation. So now we want to turn our attention and look toward our outward focus gifts.
You might be wondering how the Food Backpacks program has been doing during the past 4 months of COVID time. Actually, it has gone amazingly well. When the schools closed, Agnus Dei closed, Peninsula Lutheran closed, which was also a distribution site. When that happened, all the activities have been centered now at the Key Peninsula or Key Center warehouse that belongs to the Food Backpacks program. So on Wednesdays and Fridays, about 10 to 12 volunteers wearing masks, wearing gloves, work hard at organizing all the food, getting the food ready for distribution on Saturday in a drive-by pickup program. So the families who are enrolled in the program are set at one of 3 sites to pick up their food between 12 and 1 each Saturday. One of those sites is Henderson Bay High School. Another one is Evergreen Elementary. And the third pickup site is the warehouse in Key Center. At this point, there are 481 students who are being helped with supplemental food, and that's from about 200 families, and that number has stayed steady over the last month. There are 2 new additions that are really bonuses for the program. One is that there is a Spanish interpreter available at Henderson Bay on Saturdays for families who may need help in any way in translating or communicating with the program. The other is that there are now refrigerators and freezers at the warehouse in Key Center, and we are able to give the students milk, yogurt, cheese, and produce, which was not possible before when the bags were sent to schools and taken home on the school bus. So that's an exciting new development in terms of nutrition. So I am standing here in the donation station area, our pantry for Food Backpacks here at Agnus Dei. But I wanted to mention that since this is not open, if you want to donate food, that can be done easily by going to the fire station on Kimball Drive. Go in the driveway, drive all the way to the back, and you'll see a blue and white shed with Food Backpacks on the door. It's open at all times. You just put food on the shelves, and Paul Miller, who is a member of our church, routinely picks up that food and takes it out when he volunteers out in Key Center. And the reason I'm holding a paper bag is because we need paper bags to put the food in. Some of us have accumulated paper bags during the time when we weren't using our own grocery bags. So if you have paper bags, drive by the fire station on Kimball and just add those to the shed in the back, and that will also be helpful. So thanks for your funding, for those who have continued to provide funds. Thanks for any donations that you might give between now and who knows when. And thanks for your interest in food backpacks.
My name is Gwen Dowd from the Fifth.
I'm Zoe Holmes.
And we are the faith community nurses for your church community. And our job is to educate and help you find out what's going on with your condition that you might have. We cannot diagnose, we cannot treat, but we can help you look up and get the information you need and direct you to the right places to go. Our telephone numbers are both in the church directory. You can call us anytime. A couple of the other things we do, we call the people that are not able to get out. We do have a rideshare program. We give people rides to doctor's appointments or physical therapy. And Zoe has another part she'd like to talk to you about that has to do with our education.
Yes, I've been doing a monthly newsletter, part of the newsletter for the church. I do an article in that. Probably 16 years I've been doing that, but it involves probably current things that are going on, and if there are things that you think you would like in the newsletter article, be sure and let me know.
Hi, I'm Mary Marquardt, a member of the Prayer Shawl Ministry. We meet every Wednesday from 1:30 to 3 on Zoom. We used to meet in the couch room every Wednesday at the same time, but since we've had the COVID-19, we are able to continue our meeting through the miracle of technology. You can find us on the church's website, click on the events tab, and you scroll down and you'll find Prayer Shawl Ministers. We have about 20 members. Not all are members of the church, and not all come every time, of course. And our skill ranges from raw beginners to master knitters and crocheters who are always willing to help us get started when we get stuck and drop a stitch, or to read and explain a pattern to us. We make shawls and lap blankets for people who are ill or who are going through a rough time. And for friends, family, friends of friends, complete strangers. If you know someone who would like one, please come to the couch room. We have them stockpiled in this cabinet here. Pick up one that appeals to you. And we ask that you sign this little booklet to tell us who to pray for. We will continue praying for them. We also make blankets, baby blankets and baby hats for the baby kits that go worldwide through Lutheran World Relief. Hats are also put in the food backpacks for kids every winter. And one of our members makes dozens of baby layettes that go to the babies born at St. Joseph's in Tacoma, who go home wrapped in nothing but the hospital towel. Despite our busyness with our hands, our second main objective for meeting together is to talk, share, and laugh. So come and join us. We'd love to have you.
From Heaven Above to Earth I Come is one of my favorite Christmas hymns. It was written by Martin Luther in 1534. In addition to the 15 verses, he likely wrote the tune for this hymn as well. Here is the chorale, followed by 2 settings of this tune by Johann Pachelbel and J.S. Bach.
Sherry Shull, our Minister of Music, came to Agnus Dei with a rich and broad background in training. And with I didn't ask her, but Santa and I are sitting on that very bench that she was just playing from. We're being very careful, aren't we, Santa, so we don't mark this. I see you've got your shoes on, but they're soft. They're okay. As you heard, she frequently shares early music. In that case, was a piece written by Martin Luther way back in the 1500s. That's music that predates this modern time and brings us great richness and depth to our worship services. So now, this Christmas in July, we're coming near to the end of our celebration. But before we go, on behalf of the Stewardship Committee who organized this event, we want to thank you for your faithful gift of tithes and offerings to keep our ministries going. It bears repeating, thank you, that we couldn't keep these ministries going without your continued support. So thank you to you all. While this building remains closed, the church is always open because of people, not the church building. Now, if you haven't already signed up, consider making your regular gifts to the church automatic by signing up for Tithely. That's a new software we're using now on our church website. But no matter how you choose to give, we thank you so very much for your gifts. So now we've reached the close of our celebration, and we're going to transition here in just a moment. We're going to ask you to join us for a little fellowship by logging on to our post-celebration Zoom meeting, and you can find the link on this screen. And of course, for security reasons, we don't put up the password on this screen. Just go to the last ADLC weekly email that you received, and you'll find the password listed there. It's a number of digits. Pretty simple to do. And in fact, if you look at it there, you can log on right from that email. So once again, thank you for all of you who contributed to this broadcast and who share in our fellowship. Merry Christmas in July. Thank you and good evening.